Greetings, fellow man. Servus Männer. This is Red Pill Germany again, and today I want to tell you about the AfD's Federal Party Convention that took place on the weekend, on Saturday and Sunday. This was a first really important convention after their success at the federal elections. So a lot of decisions had to be made, chairmen had to be elected, and so on. So I want to actually divide this into two videos. In this one, I want to talk a little bit more about the protests around the event, and in the following second video, I want to talk more about what was going on at the event, to give you a little bit of an insight into what is going on within the AfD at the moment and into which direction the party is headed now. So the convention took place in the convention center of the city of Hannover on Saturday and Sunday. And a state media channel that is called Phoenix covered the event live for a very great amount of time. But of course, long before the actual event, the usual suspects had already planned to shut down this convention, to block the entrances, and to keep the delegates, the members of parliament and the party delegates, to enter the convention center. So that means they wanted to make it impossible for the AfD to hold a normal convention. So these groups are, of course, the churches and the labor unions and the political parties, the youth organizations of the Green Party, of the left-wing party, Die Linke, and of the Social Democrats, of course, and also some more radical groups, Antifa-like groups, the interventionalist left, for example, the Interventionistische Linke, that is a group that understands itself as a extra-parliamentary opposition, and they focus, of course, not only on agitation and propaganda, but they really want to take action and attack the political enemy with illegal means, of course. And they did that this weekend in Hannover. So I said that in recent videos, and I say it again, these are of course parts of the establishment. These are sons and daughters of the middle class members of the cathedral, as reactionaries would say. To me, they are just savages. Yes, their parents are paid by the government because they are teachers or administrators or something like that. But these young people, I mean, they are not engineers, they're not workers, they're not craftspeople. They are probably studying liberal arts or social sciences. They are unwashed and they are not able to think straight. All they know is violence and ideology. And they are losers and parasites in our society. That's what they are. Without other people's tax money, they couldn't even have breakfast in the morning. And yes, they think they are middle class, but in fact they are just something that was called Lumpenproletariat in former times, so they are parasites. A minimum wage factory worker is still more noble and more righteous than these people will ever be. And of course, all these actions are funded by taxpayers' money that local politicians funnel into the pockets and accounts of these so-called NGOs and these organizations that I would actually liken to the Rot Front in the Weimar Republic, so a gang of street thugs. There was actually a huge police force was necessary so that the delegates could just go into the convention center. Overall, I have to say the police did a decent job, but there seems to have been one incident where the police actually ignored that a delegate was attacked. You might remember in Berkeley there were actually stand-down orders directed at the police because they saw that the left-wing criminals were outnumbering the citizens that they wanted to attack. So what the left-wing mayor did, or the politician behind all that, who's in the end of course giving directions to the police and the police chiefs, they said they want the police to stand down and do nothing so that the left-wing thugs can do their dirty illegal work. Now, on the grand scheme of things, this didn't at all happen in Hanover. The police did a great job, but in one instance they actually ignored that a member of the German parliament was violently attacked, beaten, and documents were stolen from him, or they tried to steal party documents from him, and the police just ignored him. But as far as I know, that was only one incident. One is, of course, already one too many. But actually, overall, the police handled this, or I should say, the police was allowed to handle this much better than I had anticipated, than I had expected. And I say it this way because I don't want that anybody thinks that I am somehow disrespecting the German police force. Actually, police officers were injured this weekend, and it is very important for me to say very clearly that I know that our men and women in uniform are doing a great job and that they want to uphold the law. But it is the police chiefs, it is the politicians who ultimately, of course, control the police chiefs, who are giving them bad orders, who are sabotaging them, who are keeping them from upholding the German law on the streets. For example, these stand down orders, or they order them to let people walk freely again. The judges, of course, are also stabbing them in the back, and there is a lot of frustration in the German police force, and I can understand that. So I want to make that very clear. But actually, overall, the police did a great job. They used water cannons, for example, and they could successfully dissolve this illegal mob of unwashed, unshaven, badly dressed people who tried to illegally block the AfD delegates from entering the convention center. And I think they should have been able to use a lot more force when actually fighting crime on the streets. But it seems like their orders were that they should rather protect these work-shy middle-class teenagers and liberal arts students than actually to protect the health of their fellow police officers or a member of the German parliament. So because these thugs needed to be cleared off the streets of Hanover first, the convention started 1 hour late. The program was very huge. It is a very important convention. All the other parties, they have these rules and systems already in place. The AfD now for the first time is in the Bundestag, so they have to figure out a lot of rules. They have to give themselves, so to speak, a constitution, and they needed to elect lots of people into lots of important party functions, such as treasurer, chairman, and spokespeople, and so on and so on. But more about this in my next video, when I will talk about what was going on there and what conclusions I draw from what was going on the weekend. So I'm actually very, very excited about that, and I'm looking forward to making that video already. So if you are interested in what is going on with the German opposition at the moment, you should watch that next video. Bear in mind that the AfD at the moment, you can say about them whatever you want, but it is the only political party that is offering an actual alternative to what is going on in Germany at the moment. They do that in a peaceful way, they do that in a democratic way. They are the only party that is opposing uncontrolled, unvetted third world immigration with no caps and no control mechanisms in place. They don't want completely isolated countries, they don't want closed borders, but they also don't want completely open borders. They are actually a very centrist party. Despite of what the media is saying about them, they are very moderate in fact, and this became very clear on the weekend. The media is of course writing that it was a huge push to the right and the radicals succeeded and they showed their full force, but I think this is all nonsense, and I will tell you why in the next video. So enjoy the rest of your week. I hope you had a good start into the week. Catch you guys again later. Servus, Kameraden.